Now,
maybe she doesn't know.
Beyonce doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think Beyonce. They're not going to share that with her.
Yvette knows. I got the receipts. I still have the receipts.
What I've heard about them as a couple is that they've been living separate lives for a very long time. So they together, but they living separate.
There's a storm brewing, and Jason Lee seems to be right at the center of it. Rumors are spreading fast that Jason might be sitting on some explosive details about Beyonce and Jay-Z's marriage, and some people are saying he tried to warn everyone way before the rest of the world even caught on. If you've been online lately, you've probably seen Jason stirring things up on his show, throwing bold shots at Queen Bey like he's not scared of the Bey Hive one bit. Months ago, Jason cornered Beyonce on camera in a way that had everyone's jaws dropping.
Men who are supporting Cassie, who maybe have some stories about you that might feel a bit similar, you need to be put on mute. This is not your time.
We can take it back a step further. We can go all the way back to when he was trying to get with Aaliyah. The Foxy rumors. This man has a legit history of what he's allegedly doing to Beyonce now. So why is it so far-fetched to y'all to think that he's not doing the same thing to Beyonce? Just because it's Beyonce? I'm gonna need y'all to take y'all stand caps off and put your thinking caps on.
He straight up implied that he had personal information about her marriage to Jay-Z and basically put her on the spot, saying that unless she could get Kelly Rowland to endorse his show, he wasn't holding back. That was a wild move, and honestly, many thought he was just clout chasing at the time. Fans weren't having it back then. They mocked him online, saying he was reaching and had no real proof.
I think optically, when you don't include other black leaders in the culture in the fold, I mean, not just take me out of it. The Breakfast Club, I mean, you should have honored and brought more black. And I spent thousands of over $40,000 in tickets and shared the experience with friends. And I've done a lot, and I'm not even going to say it here because if I did, this internet, Beyonce's good internet, would go great.
People laughed off his statements, treating the whole situation like a desperate publicity stunt. But fast forward to now, and things are starting to look different. Fresh rumors are swirling that Beyonce might actually be preparing to walk away from Jay-Z, and suddenly, everyone is side-eyeing Jason's old comments. People are asking, wait a second, did he already know something way before the rest of us? This whole situation is way messier than people first thought. Let's break down exactly how the Jason Lee versus Beyonce drama really kicked off, because it didn't just come out of nowhere. Everything started back in December, when Jason got heated after finding out he didn't make the cut for Beyonce's exclusive London Renaissance film premiere. This wasn't just any event. It was a star-studded, high-glamour night, and Beyonce personally handpicked the influencers and celebrities she wanted there. But Jason, he wasn't on that list, and that clearly struck a nerve. He went live and aired out his frustration for everyone to see, accusing Beyonce of not showing real love to black media. He didn't hold back either.
I'm going to tell them while Johnny puts a beep, or you'll never know what it is, but I want you to see their reactions. Ooh. And that's where I go back. We're friends. Can you imagine had I put that on Hollywood Law? Oh, there was one more thing. Beep this, Johnny.
Woo!
So that in itself, I think Beyonce could have gave me a...
Maybe she doesn't know.
Beyonce doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think Beyonce. They're not going to share that with her.
No. Now, if I get that message to Beyonce, I'm connected. I could get the message to Beyonce. You know that, Yvette, we're trying to book Kelly Rowland right now. Now, if I don't get Kelly Rowland, then it's going to be a problem. Then I'm putting out...
Sean Carter is worse.
Oh man.
He's smarter. He's patient. He's not sloppy. This been lining up people he calls friends and stepping to the side while they get hit by the guillotine for 30 years.
Jason said he had dropped a jaw-dropping $40,000 on Renaissance concert tickets and exclusive merch for his entire crew, thinking that level of dedication would earn him a golden ticket straight into the VIP section of her London celebration. But here's where it really stung. While Jason was left on the sidelines, other influencers with way less involvement and nowhere near his spending were out there living it up at the party that night. Seeing people with a fraction of his investment walk through those velvet ropes must have hit hard, and that's when Jason flipped the switch from being a supporter to becoming one of her loudest critics. Things took a wild turn after Jason wrapped up his heated rants, because instead of cooling down, he cranked the drama up even more on his show. He started dropping hints and spilling supposed secrets about Beyonce that left everyone in the studio stunned. You could literally see it on their faces. Wide eyes, mouths hanging open. Nobody could believe what they were hearing live. But Jason didn't stop there. He pushed the line even further.
Oh, Jay-Z. And he was working with R. Kelly, and they were making so many records together. You know, they made all of those records together. They both, Aaliyah, they shared so much in common.
And made a move that had people calling it straight up bold. Right there on air, He basically tried to pressure Beyonce by saying that if she could use her connections to get Kelly Rowland to sit down for an interview with him, he'd stay quiet about the private information he claimed to have. It was like watching someone throw gasoline on a fire. The tension in that moment was intense. At the time, most fans brushed it off, saying Jason was just bitter about being left out of the London premiere and trying to grab attention. People thought he was reaching, letting his hurt pride talk instead of actual facts. But looking back now, that moment feels a lot heavier than anyone gave it credit for. Back then, everyone laughed it off and said Jason didn't actually have any real dirt on Beyonce, just empty threats and wild talk. But fast forward to now, and suddenly, the entire picture looks a lot different. Rumors are flying all over the internet that Beyonce and Jay-Z might actually be heading for a split. And people online are connecting the dots like detectives. They're asking if this could be the same tea Jason's been hinting at for months, the very thing he kept threatening to expose.
Wow, a long time. How long? 10 years? However long she's been recording. That's when I met her.
Well, don't you remember how long it was?
Yeah, when I met her. I mean,
was it 5 years ago? Was it?
I met her 10 years ago.
But did you say to yourself at that time, wow?
That's a fantastic talent.
Was that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
For anyone wondering where these divorce whispers are coming from, let's rewind a bit. Jay-Z has been linked to multiple women over the years, and he's even publicly admitted to being unfaithful to Beyonce in the past. But the latest round of speculation kicked into overdrive when people started digging into his connections with Diddy. And that's where things got intense. According to circulating rumors, Beyonce was reportedly blindsided by some suspicious financial moves Jay was allegedly making with Diddy behind the scenes. Word is, she's now trying to quietly distance herself before the situation turns into a massive public scandal. The internet's buzzing with theories, and people are convinced this could be the real reason she's preparing to make a major move. Jay-Z and Diddy were once like brothers in the industry. Their bond was tight for decades. But lately, that picture-perfect alliance seems to be cracking, and the shift started right before Cassie dropped her explosive lawsuit against Diddy. In a slick interview, Diddy confidently stated that only 2 people in the world could call him Sean, his mother and Jay-Z. That was his way of painting their friendship like it was unshakable, almost like family. But here's where things get chilling. Around that exact time, Diddy allegedly already knew Cassie was preparing to go public with her lawsuit. According to her legal team, he had been quietly trying to cut deals for months, reportedly offering her millions in exchange for her silence. So when he brought up Jay-Z in that interview, some people believe it wasn't just a casual shout out. It felt like a warning, a way of saying, don't get caught up in this, because if I go down, I'm not going alone. Industry insiders have whispered that Diddy's mention of Jay might have been intentional, like a strategic move to remind everyone who's tied to him. And it gets even darker from there. Behind the glitz and glamour, rumors have circulated for years that Jay and Diddy's behavior toward women may be far more similar than people want to believe. Singer Jaguar Wright even came forward with shocking claims, alleging that Jay's private actions might be worse than Diddy's. She claimed that it's not loyalty, but fear that keeps Jay silent during all of Diddy's public chaos. Because if Diddy ever decided to talk, Jay's own secrets, including allegations about how he's treated Beyonce in private, could surface too. But wait, this story gets even hotter, because Jaguar didn't just throw light criticism at Jay, she went all in. She dug into the long circulating claims about his alleged affairs with younger women in the industry, and fans haven't forgotten the names that have popped up over the years. Foxy Brown, Aaliyah, Tyra Marie, and even Rihanna have all been mentioned in passing, stirring conversations that never fully went away.
Yeah, Beyonce's on. She's been on them for a long time, and you keep her that way.
These names keep resurfacing whenever people start questioning Jay's past, and Jaguar made sure to bring that history right back into the spotlight. Then there's his questionable connection to R. Kelly. Even after Kelly's horrifying actions became public knowledge, Jay reportedly didn't immediately cut ties, and that raised a lot of eyebrows. People were side-eyeing him hard for staying linked to someone with such a disturbing reputation, and it added another layer of doubt to his image. On top of that, Beyonce and Jay's relationship has faced years of scrutiny from her own fan base. The timeline of their beginnings has always made some people uneasy. Beyonce has said they started dating when she was 18, about a year after they first met, and that detail has sparked endless debates and speculation. Fans have constantly picked apart their history, pointing out how unusual the situation seemed even back then. Jay-Z made a major slip-up back in 2007 during an interview with Charlie Rose, and fans still talk about it to this day. When Charlie casually asked how long he'd known Beyonce, Jay got visibly uneasy and accidentally revealed that they had met 10 years earlier. That one tiny detail set off alarm bells everywhere.
Talking about free Britney, y'all need to be doing a campaign that say free Beyonce. She is a prisoner in a gilded cage.
Doing the math, that means they first crossed paths in 1997, when Jay was 28 years old and Beyonce was just around 15 or 16. People immediately started raising their eyebrows at that timeline, and the internet hasn't stopped dissecting it since. That unplanned confession opened the door for fans to revisit his entire dating history, especially because of the noticeable age gap. And what they found made the conversation even more intense. Rumors resurfaced, claiming that Jay had been involved with Foxy Brown when she was still in her mid-teens, promising to help launch her career before Beyonce even came into the picture. People have drawn sharp comparisons between that situation and Diddy's history with Cassie, pointing out the uncomfortable similarities. What once seemed like a minor slip during an interview has now become a major piece of the puzzle that fans are using to question the true nature of Jay's past relationships. And the comparisons don't stop there. Things get even more intense when you look at their early relationship. Beyonce was just 19 while Jay was 36, a gap that's always made some people uneasy. Over the years, wild claims have surfaced suggesting that Jay allegedly got Beyonce hooked on substances during their early days together. One of the loudest voices pushing this theory has been Uncle Ron, who's described as her former bodyguard. He's repeatedly claimed that Jay holds all the power in their relationship, using his influence to control every major decision she makes. Jaguar didn't hold back either. She echoed those claims and took it even further, saying Beyonce is essentially living in a luxurious cage, trapped in a glamorous life that looks perfect on the outside, but feels confining on the inside. According to her, Beyonce doesn't have real freedom, just a carefully crafted image that hides the control happening behind closed doors. This is the twist that really sent the divorce rumors into overdrive. With claims like these resurfacing alongside whispers of financial tension and old scandals, people are convinced something big is happening behind the scenes. Jay-Z recently made headlines when he publicly called out the Grammys for not giving Beyonce the Album of the Year award that many believe she's long deserved. At first, the moment looked like a romantic show of support.
So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work.
He stood up for his wife, and the crowd applauded. But sharp-eyed fans noticed something off. While Jay delivered his speech, Beyonce's expression didn't reflect pride or gratitude. Instead, she looked tense, almost irritated, like something behind the scenes wasn't sitting right. Then came the part that really threw everyone off. While praising her achievements, Jay didn't refer to her by name, not even Beyonce. Instead, he called her "this young lady." Fans instantly started questioning what that was about, because the choice of words felt distant and awkward, especially for such a public, emotional moment. The confusion only deepened when, right after his speech, Jay, Beyonce, and Blue Ivy abruptly left the ceremony. That was strange on its own, but what made it even weirder was that Jay had just accepted his Global Impact Award. So why would he stick around to accept his own honor, yet walk out right after publicly criticizing the same institution for not honoring his wife properly? People were quick to call out the contradiction. He respected the Grammys enough to show up and collect his prize, but simultaneously slammed them for their bias toward Beyonce. Fans were left scratching their heads, saying it didn't make sense. And what stood out most was that he never once referred to her as "my wife" during his speech. Not even a direct mention of her name. Supporters couldn't shake the uneasy vibe. Many even compared the incident to the time Diddy allegedly yelled at Cassie at a public event, just months before her case came to light. Adding even more intrigue, rumors have been swirling that Beyonce has been on a serious financial grind lately. She's been pushing her new hair care line hard and reportedly working overtime on a new album. According to whispers, she's setting up her own independent business empire, separate from Jay, to protect herself if the alleged financial scandals involving his ties to Diddy start surfacing publicly. And here's where Jason Lee slides back into the picture. His cryptic comments about Beyonce came right after Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy exploded online. Now fans are starting to wonder if Jason's joke was actually a pointed reference to Jay-Z's closeness with Diddy. As more details line up, people are connecting the dots. And the whole situation is starting to look a lot less random and a lot more like a tangled web waiting to unravel. This entire situation is starting to look messier than a spilled drink on a packed dance floor. And when it comes to Jason Lee, let's be real. If he ever decides to speak up fully, he might be sitting on some secrets about Jay-Z and Beyonce that could shake the entire industry to its core. Nobody knows if he'll actually spill it all, but one thing's for sure, Jason has never been the type to hold his tongue. Fans are already buzzing online, with some saying they wouldn't be shocked if Jay's reputation ends up looking even worse than Diddy's when everything finally comes to light. Social media is on fire right now with endless theories, takes, and debates about what's really going on behind those closed doors. But here's the real twist. Not everyone sees Beyonce as the innocent party in this saga. There's a growing group of people who believe that if Jay ends up falling, Beyonce might be just as nervous about her own secrets being exposed. That's why this drama feels so unpredictable. It could explode in any direction at any moment. So what do you think? Is Beyonce truly gearing up to file those divorce papers? Or is she too deep in her business empire to make that kind of move right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure to share. Because this story is far from over, and you won't want to miss what comes next.